All right, friends, time to get your doctor-recommended dose of thrilling legality. Thanks to our friends at Rio Caraway.
John is with the trusted legal experts to break down the latest headlines in another edition of Sidebar.
That's right, guys. Dan and Chuck are here. We got some interesting scenarios to break down for you. First one involved those cable cars in San Francisco. They're iconic. They're fun to take a ride on. I've never once occurred to me, though, what happens when things go south. And there was a case where somebody is riding that. The conductor had to hit the emergency brake. Obviously, those things not like a car. That leads to issues. So people injured, I'm assuming. What's the legal issue here?
So the legal issue here is that you have these cable cars, which I actually rode for the first time this last year.
They're fun.
They're fun. Mm-hmm. But when you get on those, it's like a bus or a taxi or something like that. They have a different type of liability. Mm-hmm. It's common carrier. So it's a heightened standard because as a passenger, you're getting on and you're entrusting that they are going to safely take you from one place to the other. And in this particular case, the cable car is coming down the hill. There's a car in the intersection. They apply the regular brake, but they have an emergency brake, which is like a wedge, and it jams into the cable and it immediately stops it. And they actually have to go in and like torch it out in order to.
It's for an emergency.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what you're looking at here is one, if the car is illegally in the intersection, then that person is liable. And if you're injured, then you're going to be able to have some sort of claim against them because they've done something wrong in order to injure you. But you have to look at the cable car and you have to think, was there anything that the cable car could have done in order to avoid this? And it's not a normal standard of negligence. Is there anything a professional driver could have done in order to avoid this? And if the answer is yes, then you can have a claim against them.
Interesting. So the second scenario we're talking about here, and this is another one that I think a lot of people, have found themselves in something similar. You're driving in your car, you're following the map, it's telling you, and you're kind of getting confused by the map. There was a case in North Carolina, and correct me if I'm wrong, guy's driving down the road, and he gets, the bridge is out, but his Google Maps or whatever doesn't tell him that, and he drives off the bridge, ends in tragedy. In a situation like that, is whether it's Google or Apple, are they liable for knowing that the bridge is out?
So this is an interesting thought process because over time, this has existed in a lot of forms. There were times when, Google or whatever GPS system would get one-way streets wrong in certain cities. I mean, there's a lot that they had to go ahead and account for. There are specific areas around the country where the actual towns have put up, don't follow your GPS because it drives you off a pier or things like that. This is one of those scenarios. And here the complication is the Google mapping system said to use the bridge, absolutely. And then local people had gone ahead and removed the barriers on the bridge because the barriers had been vandalized. So not only was he being misdirected, but all of the safety measures that were normally there were not present at the moment. And so it was kind of a double whammy. Like it was one of those terrible situations. The problem that's always going to be balanced against, though, is the comparative negligence of you're still a driver. You're still responsible for being aware, making good decisions, looking. I mean, unless this was a very rare scenario where you could not have seen that the bridge was out in any way, shape, or form, you're still ultimately going to have some responsibility yourself. This is your car. At the end of the day, I can't blame a mapping system for going ahead and making me turn somewhere. I had to make that choice ultimately. I may have relied upon some information from it, so there may be some duality there. Google may have some responsibility on bad mapping. The city or whoever's responsible for that bridge may have some responsibility for not having proper barriers and warning signs and things out. The driver also may have some responsibility based on the scenario.
I believe in legal circles, it's known as the you have eyes doctrine.
That's it.
You can see, right? Gentlemen, thank you so much. If people are interested, need more information, well, how can they get in touch with you guys?
It's Del Rio and Caraway.
That's it.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, have a good one. Guys.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic.
Thanks, gentlemen.